The Miami Dolphins get their preseason schedule, and we find out about the joint practices, which also kind of gives us a little bit of an idea of what training camp's going to look like. I got some news about training camp. What is up, Finn fans? Going to be talking. I know you're probably like, I don't give up. We're going to be talking about preseason football today, but also it coincides with training camp, which is coming up, right? OTAs start on Tuesday. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, OTAs. Then there's some OTAs at the beginning of June, and then you got mandatory minicamps, and then we get a break. You normally don't get the full training camp schedule until training camp normally starts at the end of July, so like the middle of July and all that stuff. But some of the information that is coming out will give us an idea. Shout out to Alan Poupard, who kind of on the Dolphins collective opened my eyes with something. But first, there's a little bit of news. That's not the one. We could use that one. It's tiny, but it gets the point. You only really care about this. Dolphins made a roster move yesterday. Waived William Bradley King, the linebacker, and we signed quarterback Brett Gabbert. Yes, related to Blaine Gabbert. Apparently, there's 3 of them. Now, this is only just because of a camp body. I talked about it on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter if you haven't yet. This essentially, there's only... It's like, I'm going to try to say this without, I'm going to have to say pause. There's only a certain amount of footballs that can be thrown by a certain player, right? Like in training camp or in OTAs or anything, you're not going to have your starting quarterback throw 100 footballs. You kind of need to spread it out. And that's where you bring in a 4th quarterback. And they did that last offseason, camp-wise, when they brought in a 4th quarterback and then 2 assigned his contract extension, and they waived that 4th quarterback. But you're not going to want your starting quarterback to be throwing. Like, go look around the NFL. There's a ton of teams that have a rocking 4 quarterbacks in camp. That's essentially what this is. Brett Gabbert apparently was like, ooh, wow, during the rookie tryouts, because he came in for a tryout during rookie camp. They probably were like, oh, we like what we could see. He can get the guys the balls that need them. Bring them in. And then, we'll probably waive them, second week into training camp, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. So nothing crazy about this move here. But big fat pimply butt, like I said, we got to see what the preseason schedule looks like. Now, right now, this is week 1. Now, your Hall of Fame game is the Chargers, Detroit. It's not at Detroit. It's these 2 teams, and they'll be playing at Canton, Ohio. Then week 1 here. I think the Miami Dolphins might be on TV, national TV for this one, because the Sunday, they're the only team playing at 1 o'clock. They will be at Chicago at 1 o'clock right here down at the bottom. I'll highlight it for you if you're like, I don't see it right here. They're the only 1 o'clock team. So for us Dolphin fans that aren't in Miami, or even if you're in Tampa or if you're in Orlando, not all Florida areas get the Dolphins, especially during preseason. And this game might be on TV because it's the only 1 o'clock game on Sunday. And that would be fantastic if it's on TV, because I will be live streaming every preseason game. So yes, Sunday at 10 o'clock, Sunday at 1 o'clock, August 10th, they will be playing the Chicago Bears. Interesting enough, I think this is like the first 1 o'clock preseason game the Dolphins have played. Normally it's like against Carolina, against Atlanta, against Tampa, against Jacksonville. I think like the furthest they'll go is like Tennessee, maybe. I don't know. It's rare for them to face Chicago in preseason, especially at 1 o'clock. Normally it's either a Thursday or a Saturday at 7 o'clock. So that's interesting. So that's the first game here. And then you got week 2. We will be in Detroit at 1 o'clock. Again, very interesting. This one might not be televised. It's a Saturday because of all of the 1 o'clock games here. You got, Indy, Minnesota, Philly, Houston. You never know. They might throw it on TV because it's Detroit. And this is probably your dress rehearsal game. So you'll see Tua, you'll see Goff and all those guys. But that's week 2. And then week 3. thought I clicked on it. Apparently, I didn't click on it. Week 3. Losing my mind. They will be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars at 7 o'clock. This is what I'm talking about. Normally, these all are at 7 o'clock. Could this be on TV? Possibly. The only other game at 7 is Buffalo, but maybe not. They might just be like, screw it. We don't care. We just want to show the 8:30 game. All these other games can kick rocks, whatever. The thing that is interesting that I will talk about is what Isaiah Smalls says. Shout out to him. Go follow him. He hasn't followed me back. Isaiah, if you're watching this, give me a follow back, my man. He said this: the Dolphins will hold joint practice against all 3 preseason opponents, the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is very interesting. And again, shout out to Alan Poupart. If you're watching this, comment below. Say, hey, I'm watching this, Doug. He reaffirmed, or hey, don't forget, you're only allowed to have 4 joint practices. 4. And if you look at how the preseason schedule is going to go, the Dolphins are probably going to divvy these preseason games and then the joint practices a certain way. And that's where we will go back. And I have to pull up a calendar because I don't know much, but hold on, let me pull up, because I'm gonna have to multitask and I don't want to mess this up while multitasking. But they're gonna have to finagle a way to work in these 4 allowed joint practices. So they're gonna be joint practicing with all 3. So you have the Chicago Bears. We are playing them the 10th. Then on the 16th, which isn't too far away, we play Detroit. They're probably going to stay up there. And again, this is what Alan said. So I guarantee, and Alan said this, again, I'll give him all the credit, they'll probably have the joint practice with Chicago on the 7th. You get the days off, you face them here. Or they'll have the joint practice on the 8th, you get the day off, you face them preseason here, right? They'll get 2 days off on the 11th and the 12th. Probably traveling or whatever. They'll head to Detroit. They'll have joint practice with Detroit the 13th and the 14th. Play them the 16th, right? Come home. Then they play Jacksonville on the 23rd. You'll probably only have 1 joint practice on the 21st. They'll probably have practice like 19th, 20th, and then the 21st is the only joint practice. So again, you'll probably have like a joint practice with Chicago, either the 7th or the 8th, game on the 10th, joint practice with Detroit the 13th and the 14th, game on the 16th. Then you only have 1 left. You play Jacksonville on the 23rd. You'll probably have your joint practice on the 21st. Always give a day before the preseason games, which means, again, they play the 16th. You'll probably have practice 19, 20, joint practice the 21st, or 18 break, 20, whatever. But the reason I said in the beginning I got some news is I'm thinking I'm going to go down for training camp the 20th and the 21st. I think these 2 days, I'm going to go down for 2 days. Last year I only went down for 1 day of training camp. I think this year I'm going down for 2 days of training camp, the 20th and the joint practice the 21st. Again, we won't know what the official, first off, we won't know the official days of the joint practice until Mike McDaniel talks to the media, which I think they said is happening soon. It'll happen before OTAs. So maybe Monday they'll meet with Mike McDaniel, maybe today. We'll see. So we'll get the official, hey, we're going to do 1 with Chicago, 2 with Detroit, 1 with Jacksonville. Then Alan Poupart is a genius and he called it. Or, hey, we're going to, I see them staying in Chicago, going from Chicago to Detroit and just staying in Detroit and then coming home. It just doesn't make sense to go from Chicago back to Miami, then up to Detroit. It just doesn't make sense. So that's probably how that will pan out. Now, how that affects us Dolphin fans, and more specifically you Dolphin fans down in Miami, you're going to get 3 less training camp days that you can go to. Now, like I said before, they will release the full training camp dates of, the Members Day and all these other days and all that stuff, Veterans Day. And probably, like I said, training camp probably will start on like July 21st or in the 20s. That's normally when it does. Probably like after the 4th of July, that like second week of July, they'll probably release the training camp dates. So I wanted to make this video, give you guys an update, let you know things. There's a possibility that, we get a preseason game nationally televised again for the people that don't live in Miami. Because if you live in Miami, you'll be able to see it. If you live in Chicago, you'll be able to see it. Outside of those areas, you're not going to see it because it's preseason. No one gives a crap. But I will show you how you can watch the preseason games if you care, and I do, because sometimes you're just itching for football, and that's your little fix there before the season starts in September. Comment below. Let me know what you think. If you're like, Doug, what a waste. I don't care about any of this. I understand. I will give you a video tomorrow, though. I kept telling you I got a video waiting, and it will be out tomorrow. This popped up, and I really wanted to talk about it. So I will see you tomorrow. Actually, I will see you tonight, because the starting lineup, we're going to be live tonight. We couldn't be Wednesday because of conflicting things. So we'll be live tonight instead, talking about the schedule, talking about some of the things with the tush push being put through, and, a bunch of different things. So we'll be talking about that tonight. So comment below. Let me know what you think of the joint practices, the preseason schedule, all that good stuff. And I will see you later tonight. But like usual, stay classy and fins up.